What's up, everybody? Thanks for checking out the video. I want to talk today about some comments made by Keith one-time Thurman regarding Terence Bud Crawford. From Boxing Scene here, it says, Thurman says Crawford didn't beat real champion in Spence, claims he would have wiped Errol too. Don't color Keith Thurman as impressed by undisputed welterweight champion Terence Crawford's one-sided ninth-round stoppage victory against Errol Spence Jr. in July. Hours after Crawford bashed Danny Garcia for believing a fight was still possible and Thurman for never giving him a crack at a welterweight crown, Thurman weighed in on the topic as well. My, how the tables have turned. Danny Garcia and Keith Thurman will never, and I mean never, get a shot at the top dog, and that's me. Y'all hoe asses didn't want any smoke when I wanted to fight, remember? Now y'all want to fight so bad. Go keep fighting each other like before. Crawford wrote on social media Tuesday. It's funny how all these fighters want to fight now, but back then all they could say was, I haven't fought nobody. Now they begging, looking for a check. Can't make this up. All these fighters were claiming to be their own bosses, were hiding behind the term call out. Now they're talking like they can fight whoever they want. Boy, y'all some pawns. Go sit down. Y'all created the whole term, he on the wrong side of the street. When in boxing, have you ever heard some shit like that till I moved up? After Crawford made his comments, Thurman responded in an interview with Marcos Villegas of Fight Hub TV, discrediting both Crawford's win against Spence and former unified titleist Spence's accomplishments along the way. Crawford didn't beat up a real champion, kid. Everybody knows that if you put Thurman in the ring on that night, Thurman wipes that Spence, that Errol. He gets wiped by many people, said Thurman. I don't think that Errol Spence would beat Sean Porter. God bless you, kid. Everybody knows in boxing that it's timing. There's an old saying, one day you got it, the next day you don't. A lot of people know. Thurman against that Spence, the same scenario. The former unified 147-pound titleist, Thurman and Crawford have been linked for a potential fight on and off for the last half-decade, but the mostly inactive Thurman has fought just 3 times since March 2017. So, I mean, I thought this was interesting. For the last several years, all we hear from Keith Thurman is him talking. We don't see a lot of him fighting, right? And for him to say that he would have beat Errol Spence, I mean, come on, man. Come on, man. There was nothing wrong with Spence. He just got outclassed that night. That's all it was. And if we look at Keith Thurman's record here, okay, so 2016, 2017, he beats Sean Porter and Danny Garcia, okay? He was right at the top of the division at that point. I mean, most people had him right there, probably number 3 to Spence and Crawford. And I think those fights at the time would have been considered 50-50 if he had fought Spence or Crawford back then. Okay. But the Danny Garcia fight was 6.5 years ago. That was in March of 2017. Okay. So in the last 6.5 years, Keith Thurman has had exactly 3 fights. Okay. In January of 2019, he fought Josesito Lopez and almost got stopped in that fight, if you recall. Okay, that was supposed to be a tune-up fight for Keith Thurman. And then later that year in July, he fought Manny Pacquiao and lost. Manny Pacquiao went in there and beat Keith Thurman. An old, past his prime Manny Pacquiao beat a prime Keith Thurman. Okay, and since then, Keith Thurman's fought 1 time, and that was in February of 2022 against Mario Barrios, who was making his debut at 147 pounds. He was a 140-pound fighter prior to that. Okay, so for Keith Thurman to be doing all this talking, I mean, what are you doing? I mean, why don't you get in the ring with somebody? I mean, you're not going to go right into a fight with Terence Crawford, and I think he's right. You know what? Shouldn't give him a fight. I think Terence Crawford should move on and fight somebody else. Fight at 154 pounds. I mean, we know that Errol Spence has activated his rematch clause, so presumably his next fight is going to be against Spence. Okay, we don't know when that fight's going to take place, but at least as far as what we know now, his next fight will be against Errol Spence. So, Keith, stop chasing Crawford. Get in the ring with somebody and earn your shot with your fists, not with your mouth. And I'd say from now on, he's no longer Keith one-time Thurman. We'll call him Keith once upon a time Thurman. So that's what I think. Let me know what you all think. And as always, we'll see you on the next one.